All right. I'm recording now.
Okay. So, by the way, I'm telling you, this is, obviously for I'm going to try and keep it like PG-13, and Larry's going to bleep out whatever.
If need be, I'll bleep what needs to be bleeped.
Right.
So.
That's right. You know what? And I came in all ready to curse and everything like that, not realizing that I have to use this for the retro gamers.
No, you can, because Better Half will be
you could curse on the Better Half. So,
yeah.
Well, yeah, it can be uncensored on the Better Half, but I don't know which pieces are going to wind up on the retro gamers. So,
we're going to have to kind of.
It's going to be an editing feat for Larry. Basically,
I'll do
like I said, I
raw.
was going to keep it as PG-13 as possible. But I just do a forewarning, and I don't know if we're recording here or not. But if either of you ever have kids, I'll beat the fucking shit out of both of you. Just letting you know right now. So
why?
It might come up. So
okay, we'll see.
We'll see.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Retro Gamers Hybrid Better Half podcast episode.
You mean the Better Retro Gamers Half podcast?
The Better Retro Half.
Yes, the Better Half Retro.
The better
Half of retro.
the better half gamers.
The yin and the retro. Sorry,
he's not here.
Oh,
sorry.
shoot.
And now I'm going to have to hear about it.
Oh
Yo,
God, did we
man.
not invite him?
No, this is okay. Let me explain. Originally, Anthony. Let's just for the Better Half listeners, let's introduce Anthony Rippo, the better half of the Retro Gamers podcast.
Why, hello there.
Hello, Anthony. Welcome. Originally, Anthony was supposed to be our guest on the Better Half podcast, and Larry got malaria last week, so he couldn't speak or be anywhere near anyone because he was contagious.
At this point, probably.
So Anthony and Larry and I decided to, instead of having Anthony as a guest on the show, we were going to do a hybrid crossover of the Retro Gamers and the Better Half podcast, both on the More of the Same network.
Because otherwise my head would have exploded trying to edit both of these for this week.
Right.
So.
Well, it worked. You know what? It worked out for the better anyway because I got injured last weekend playing hockey, so I was kind of down as well.
Yeah, we all were. Did anything happen to you, like at work or something? Because two of us were
I
down.
almost died in my mail truck from 120-degree weather.
Good.
It was
See, there you go.
97 in outside and 120 in my truck.
All right,
So
it's a little bit
but
of
the
a
best.
So we were all broken. It's like 97 degrees here right now.
Yes, on Tuesday.
I prefer 98 degrees.
On
Uh,
bye. Oh, that's in sync, right? Damn it.
Frank, I'm not there, so you're gonna have to smack him on my behalf.
No, he's contagious.
Yeah.
So
All right, don't touch. You should have brought gloves.
this is like the 38th parallel, right?
I got
here.
influenza.
Influenza.
Yeah, pneumonia sucks. I'm going to tell you right now.
How the hell did you get pneumonia?
I have no idea. All the years of my mother always saying, don't go outside with a wet head, probably finally caught up to me.
It's about time.
But I have no
Always
idea.
listen to your mother.
Yes, always listen to
Happy
your mother.
birthday, Ma.
Yes,
Happy birthday, Beth.
Happy birthday.
Started with
Beth.
a cough, then I got the aches, I got the chills, they were multiplying.
Right.
Oh.
Oh, boy.
And
Yeah, you-
finally...
Frank, I don't know how you put up with that every week.
I don't know how you put up with it every week.
Well, we just talk games. I can deal with that. Talking life, different story.
It's frustrating, but, I can't help it. I love the guy.
I know.
But, so, yes, before that, Larry was...
I'm sorry, I'm going to be coughing.
Larry was HIV positive. We could not record on Wednesday like we normally do.
Ow.
So
I
we
need to sign a
basically
HIPAA.
You're going to have a different disease every 30 seconds.
No, that's fair enough.
So wait a minute. So then he started doing Tinder again.
Yeah, probably. Ooh.
Possibly.
Quick grinder.
But so we're fortunate enough not to.
Thank you.
Not to
So you know what parts are going to be on the Retro Gamers,
Yes.
and now you know what parts are going to be better.
So
You know
yeah,
what?
if-
Editing is going to be
for
monumental.
your listening pleasure, if you want to get a look at two different shows, I say listen to both episodes on the Retro
Absolutely.
Gamers and the Better Half, and you will experience two different shows.
Especially this week, for sure.
Yeah. Originally, I with Anthony being our guest, I wanted to discuss something that was gnawing at me, and something as you know, I know you're all caught up on the Better Half podcast. I am not.
Thank you, LA Traffic.
Yes, God bless LA Traffic. I am only on episode 62 of the Retro
Getting
Gamers.
there.
So
You're getting there. You'll never catch up, but it's okay.
No, because you guys and I listen to like 10 other podcasts. So
I know.
but I did want to end a long debate, which I don't know. It might have been resolved in episode 63 and on.
I don't remember.
But the whole SNES versus SNES
yes.
debate. Anthony, I'm sorry to inform you, but you are completely wrong, and I will explain.
In regards to what? Calling it the SNES?
Calling it the SNES.
Oh, no. I just do that to bother Larry.
Well, regardless, hear me out that you destroyed my bit. But Anthony, might I suggest Long Island Improv?
Yes, and.
Yes, and. Right, yes, and. The
Yes,
reason
and.
why I feel you're incorrect in your SNES reviews, whether it's in jest or for real, is because you call the NES the NES. You don't call it the NES.
At least back then.
What? At least back then?
Well, this
Well,
kind
this
of came
back
up
then-
again recently.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
this came up again recently. There was an article that was released that basically, according to, I don't remember who it was according to. Do you remember who it was?
Japanese law, I think.
Yeah, according to Japan, the NES actually is supposed to be pronounced NES because we don't know why. I mean, my assessment.
you'll do
Hold on. My assessment of it was because if you look at NES, there's no. You know how when you abbreviate, there are periods in between.
Yes.
There are no periods in between for NES, so you're supposed to say NES. Now, of course, I like saying NES to bother Larry. I was like, but I agree. It should be NES, Nintendo Entertainment System.
Okay,
Makes
so
sense.
now in your regular everyday, do you call it the SNES or do you call it the SNES?
I call it the SNES. I only call it the SNES when I talk to Larry.
Okay, well, thank God we have finally resolved that.
Absolutely.
Look
Yes.
at that.
Yes, and.
Yes, and two powerhouses coming together, much like America and North Korea. God bless America.
Wow.
Now for my issue.
No comment.
Now for my issue.
No politics.
I'm angry.
Oh, yeah. You already told me about this.
I am angry. I'm slamming my pen down. I am
Why
angry.
are you angry? Why are you angry, Frank?
In episode 62 of the Retro Gamers, you and Larry spoke.
Episode 62 was the episode when we went out and chronicled our SNES minis
Right.
that we got.
Yes.
I got
Okay.
12, you got about 17.
Something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
about
I think it was a total between the both of you 10.
Okay.
So I know, and you told how your stories, how you drove to Target, and Larry was
Out there for
had to
12
had a
hours.
doctor's appointment, and there's other guys like I just pulled up, and okay,
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah.
and I'm like, okay. Now, by the way, just so you know, I just got an NES Classic for my wedding anniversary. My wife was
congrats.
awesome. I just don't have any more TVs or anything to hook it up to, so I have to start. Larry's got to come over and rewire my house. So,
I'll be in a crawl space like Cable Guy.
and I plan on buying the SNES because out of the 10 that you guys received, I received none.
Okay.
Exactly. Let me finish. Anthony got one for some guy named Jose, a girl named Trish, his cat.
That was me.
The mailman, not this mailman, probably the UPS
Wait.
man. He gave one to the guy at Amazon Locker who bought him one, who he bought one off of. The homeless guy on the street in L.A. got one, and probably somebody from the LAPD.
Larry, didn't you give one to your mailman?
Well, no, I gave one to my UPS because I like UPS better than the Postal Service. But
Oh, okay.
with that being said,
And Frank's
I can
out.
lick you and you'll be out of work for a week. So, Anthony, do you remember at any point Mr. Frank Messina, the one sitting next to me, saying at any time, hey, look, if you happen to get a chance to get a Super NES Mini, pick one up for me?
Well, in my defense, he did not say it to me. However, you interact with him every single week, so I can't speak to if he brought it up to you or not.
I did not bring it up to Anthony.
Okay.
I did bring it up to you.
You did not bring it up
and
to me, I can tell you
believe
that much.
the other Frank Messina might have gotten one.
Well, yeah, because he brought it up.
And I
Yes.
brought it up.
Well, Frank, if you had
remember
brought,
saying, "Wait, you're getting my cousin one? Why not me?"
That was already after the
no,
fact.
it was not. Wrong, sir. Wrong.
I have a Super NES. You can actually take at this point because we're going to talk about something later in retro news that I'm not going to need a clone Super NES anymore.
Well, I
Frank,
might just take
Frank,
it.
Had you have asked me, I would have given you one because I had extra.
I just happened to get enough. I just happened to have gotten
Got enough. You.
One for me.
First of all, I would
one
have
for
canceled my doctor's appointment. First of all, so I don't know why you even wasting your time
don't
going
think-
to the doctor's appointment.
I was off
morning.
that day.
Did you take off work that day?
Yeah, absolutely.
did.
I got online at midnight. What do you think? I'm going to work
Do you
that
know,
day?
in my job, if I take off work, even if it's for like my son's head could be hanging off and it has to be stitched back on, I have to bring documentation and probably a picture of his bloody head.
Also, to be fair, the position I was working in was a lot easier to take days off. The one I'm in now, that's going to be very difficult to do moving
But
forward.
I'm your friend
I'm
on
aware of that.
Long Island, and I watched in glory as everyone around me. By the way, what your brother-in-law did was a real dick move.
Yeah, you heard about it.
I know. I remedied that.
Everyone around me was getting the Super NES, and I remember my lovely bald cousin goes, what do you mean Larry didn't get you one? Why didn't you ask him?" I go, "I did ask him." He goes like, "I got one." Click. I hung up on him. So
I probably have an extra one just lying around it.
I don't want.
Welcome to the Better Half Retro Gamers, podcast where we're just going to spend the whole hour arguing with each other.
Well, yeah, that's what we do. So you've listened to the show. So
I have listened to the show. It's actually I have to get into the rhythm of it since Larry and I don't always argue on the Retro Gamers. So I really you got to give me a little time
that's fine.
to acclimate.
I'm trying to figure out what acclimate means.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know what that means either. I have.
Oh, I'm sorry. 2 syllables or less. Got it.
Thank you, sir. So you've been listening to the Retro Gamers. Wait, what?
2 syllables less. I read
Oh.
every day. Every day. I know what acclimate means.
So you've caught up
I
on
think.
the Better Half podcast.
I have.
And, I got to admit, when we were recording the Better Half podcast, we probably didn't think a lot of people were going to listen to the show.
Oh yeah, no, I can tell you you must have said at least 32 times, "Oh, Rippo's never going to hear this. Rippo's never going to hear this. Rippo's never going to hear this."
You and a lot
Guess
of other
what?
people, trust me.
Well, guess what,
Rippo has now heard it all.
Well, Rippo, you let's be honest here. You're a very busy man. You're flying all over the world, different planets, and
Very true.
And you have your Switch, you have your Zelda, which your Switch had to go back, then it came back with the Zelda on it. See, I paid attention, and
You do.
I'm thinking, first of all, I don't think we said anything bad, and plus, we talk bad about everyone. You
Yes.
know? I mean, we were regretting and very hesitant to even have Verdi on.
Yeah, well.
Oh,
I mean,
good God.
I mean, I'm still waiting.
But I heard
for-
that episode. He was fine.
I'm still waiting for him to come through this door and push me into a bush.
Professionalism
Like right now?
is not part of this show.
My doorbell just rang at home. That's my ring.
that's your
I was
Right.
going to say, I just heard the doorbell. I was like,
I-
were you expecting Anthony to show up?
Honestly,
I
right?
lowered the volume. I don't know why that's on. But
Oh, well.
That's probably. the
Is there
change.
anything you would like to retort at this point, Mr. Rippo?
By the way, before
fact-
you retort, it's all in good fun. I mean, as I have no idea what's happening now.
Well, what do you... What did you expect me to come on here and be all angry at you guys based on what I heard or something?
I didn't say anything bad. So.
No, I'm just curious.
I mean, I make fun of Larry every single episode. So
Yeah, it's true. Do I have anything to retort? Not really. No. To be honest with you, first off, listening to the stories made me laugh. There were stories I was waiting to come out like over the course while I'm listening to the show. While I was listening to the shows, I'm like, I know Frank's going to bring up the toothbrush story. That's going to happen sooner. I was like, and that was inevitable. But no, I mean, I don't care. Like, I don't care. This was years ago. I go,
part of life.
Who gives a crap?
We're guys. It's what we do. You know.
hey,
exactly.
hey.
Hey, yo, we're
Hey.
part of the 1655 West 12 crew.
Hey.
Exactly.
Represent.
I was sadly the first one to leave.
Yeah.
And I was the last one in.
The last
That's
one.
right.
Yep.
First, I found it. Then I found it with Anthony.
Yep.
And then Anthony moved out. Verdi moved in.
Yep. You moved out.
I moved out.
Fury moved in.
Fiore moved in. And then
Fury moved out. I moved
out.
And then you moved in. And
Larry
then
moved in, and when Larry moved in, the owner finally decided, he's like, holy crap, I got to get out of here.
And we
These
all
guys,
moved out.
these guys are never leaving.
No, actually, and the epic story being that,
that
the
you
day.
Snapchatting or something?
No, I haven't Snapchat in a long time.
never
The day
Snapchatted.
that it was announced that the place was being sold was also the exact same day I found this apartment. And when I went home and Verdi, I go, "Hey, Verdi, I got some news for you." And Verdi's like, "I got news too." I'm like, "Oh, what's yours?" "We got to move. The place is being sold." I'm like, "Guess what?" I'm already on my way out.
Nice.
So we've been doing
Wow, you've been there all this time?
out here on Long Island. Yeah, probably about 8 years or so.
Oh my god, you're like a friggin' hobbit in a hole.
Well, you moved 12 times in 1 month.
Yeah,
so
not for nothing.
No, I understand
You're
that.
a
I'm like, but
nomad.
you just moved once in like 12 years?
yeah, I don't really go anywhere. I settle down, like a mole.
Anthony, you are perfect for the zombie apocalypse because you could just get up and go because you've moved literally 17 times since I met you.
Oh god, I can pack my car in 30 seconds and be out of here.
There you go.
That's why
long
he's
as
good
I-
at Tetris.
As long as I can grab the cats.
Yeah.
Cats and your Switch. That's really all you need.
So it-
That's all I need.
There you go.
That's all I need. I'm all good.
we're going to bounce over to the retro gamers here for a moment.
All right.
Because someone has to take control of this epic Titanic. And right
Definitely
now,
not you.
I have to. The last few weeks, there is a video on YouTube, an animation
singing.
of Titanic sinking in real time.
Yes, I actually.
It's like over
Wow.
2 hours.
That's,
Well,
Well, yeah, that's how long.
creepy.
That's how long it took to sing.
But it's because there's no music; it's just noise. And every now and again, you'll just see like a little fact on the bottom, like 1:22 p.m. The band sets up on the front,
Deck.
on the front deck,
On the
as,
Lido deck.
as the freaking thing starts sinking.
So, wait, I didn't listen to it. I saw it come up. Does it actually have like sound effects, like
Yeah, you'll hear.
cracking and
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and then the
disturbing.
best is because you don't.
That's
see any-
unnerving.
You
Yeah,
don't
isn't
see any
it? That
animation
sounds
of
weird.
people. Like there's no people or anything. But then at the very end, when it snaps in half, that's when you start hearing screaming and everything, and then you just see it sink underneath the water.
did I,
And now it's a giant blow up, right?
I know. Yes.
Oh god, that's hysterical.
Did
I can't.
Did I ever tell you the story of when I saw the Titanic in the movie theater with my girlfriend, and the two morons behind us that I actually almost jumped over the seat to strangle them? Did you guys ever hear this?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
No, I don't think I heard this one.
Watching Titanic, and if we all remember the movie, again, I was with a girlfriend, so I didn't go see it on my own.
Well, you stick with that story.
You done?
Yes.
Wow.
Titanic was my first date
What
movie
did you
as well.
text me?
I didn't text you anything. I was doing something
Let me
else.
know when Frank talks too much.
Yes.
So,
Too late.
Too
Oh,
late.
sorry.
Ooh, bazinga. So the scene when the Picassos float by in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? The girl
Yep.
behind me whispers to her friend and goes, "Oh, that's why they're so expensive." So
Oh,
I
my
kind oh, no, it gets 1,000 times better. So I kind of cringe. I look at my girlfriend and she's like, "Please don't." She's like, because she knows I had, and to this day I still have to call people out on their stupidity, which as a 44-year-old man is not the smartest thing to do. Now at the final scene of the movie, the old lady throws the jewelry overboard.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, and then dies. And then she goes down. The younger Rose goes down to the Titanic and sees Jack and Leonardo
Diane.
DiCaprio and all the other people who died.
Right.
And she's reunited with all the people from The Architect, all of that crap. The girl behind me goes, "Oh, it must have been a dream." And I literally squeezed the popcorn thing so tight that it popcorn went everywhere. And people must have been thinking wow, he's really upset about this movie. It took everything in my being not to go over and strangle the shit out of her. It was so annoying. And that's why I don't like going to the movies anymore, because I don't like people.
So I on Titanic, which was my.
Did you ever like people though?
When I was 4.
Yeah.
5.
Titanic was my first date ever I went on, and on this
Too
podcast
easy.
right
I
now,
can't. So go
on
on.
this podcast, I was late in life.
No, I was
on this
gonna say and last, but-
a little bit later on.
Okay.
Someone's mother on this podcast I ran into in the movie theater.
Oh yes, you told this story.
His mother. Well, it's not my mother. So.
Yep.
I'm just like, yeah, pretty much. I'm like, what? Who? Oh, hi, Mrs. Rippo.
You going on a date?
And she pretty much sat in the same row as us.
Awkward.
Do you want? Do you want a milk dud? I'm not doing an impression of your mom.
So-
I'm just.
With that,
I'll do it. Larry, do you want a milk dud?
That's pretty bad.
If anyone's going to do a spot-on impression of their mother, should be him.
Absolutely. All right, bring in your retro game.
All right, let's bounce over to the retro gamers here for a moment because, for the last few weeks, actually, we've been talking about a topic that's been, I've quite enjoyed listening to, participating in, because the first one, actually, you and Frank did.
Yes.
The second one you and I did, and I guess it's apropos that the third one.
Apropos.
I know. It's
I know it. I'm going to start writing this
and
stuff
by the
down.
way, I do want to bring something up from your podcast. Now that you mention it, legitly,
I hear it all the time.
Stop it!
I've said it on the Retro Gamers.
Yeah, stop it. Now I'm going to police it.
It's not like I know I'm doing it on purpose.
I'm literally starting to make a list of Larry words, Larry-isms.
Who am I, Rich Voss?
Yeah.
Legitly.
That
I think apropos.
Apropos.
I don't think anyone can really say it short of you two.
apropos.
So I think it makes sense that all three of us would actually kind of close out this segment, I think, of these retro
game commercials.
ads.
Yes, retro
I
ads.
think that's apropos.
Yeah, I think that
It's very apropos, and what we're gonna, what I think we're
guys
gonna
talking
do is we're gonna go through some of these legitly and see what we think about them.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Larry, you want a milk dud?
So I guess let's start with the first one. And we're recording a few days beforehand when these drop. But today is a special day, which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
Yes.
But really,
And-
there's nothing we can do about it. We have to mention it now. Well, you know what? Let's go to... This is going to be weird because normally we break for retro gamers, but we don't break for the better half. So
What you gotta do?
This is just going to be...
This is a hybrid. This is going to test all of Larry's editing skills. By the way, you have the same pair of shoes over there that you have over here in a different color.
These are just regular slippers. Those are like deck shoes.
Okay.
We're going to take a moment, I guess. We'll take a break here for a second, because I do have to get something to drink. And then we'll go into our little mini segment, which then will allow us to lead into the retro TV ads.
Do you want me to do like hold music, or do you want...
Sounds good.
No, I think we're just going to actually pause it. Or at least I am.
Pause it.
Are you gonna pause it, or should Frank and I just carry on without
You know what? Screw that. The two of you carry on. Carry on our wayward
No, go away. Stop singing.
And I'll be right
We've been
back.
over this. We've been over this.
All right. Okay,
You know what?
so-
Just do the mini segment without me.
Oh, good God.
The what? Don't leave me alone with him.
He knows.
Why, Frank? We got away with it a couple of weeks ago. We can
Okay,
do this.
Yeah, okay, so listen, did you tell him yet that we're kicking him off? Or
No, he has no idea that I'm taking over the better half and you're taking over the retro gamers for him.
Sweet. And
Yeah.
when
All he's going to be left with is the yin and the yang.
Right. And the other one, the wrestling one.
Oh, that's right.
Talking more wrestling.
More wrestling.
Got a lot
Talking
of
more wrestling. All part of the More of the Same network.
More of the same network, the #1 network on the internet.
Yeah.
Yep. Move over, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I think Adam Carolla's safe, though.
Corolla. Yeah. Oh, by the way, you're in Glendale, right?
I am in Glendale.
So is he. You need to take a picture of his, find his offices and take a picture of it for me.
I will find. Not only will I find this office, but you know what? Since I'm in Glendale, which is right next door to Pasadena, I should look up Cineman 73 and hang out with him.
Actually, I think he's in San Diego. I don't think he's in.
No, you've said Pasadena. on the
maybe
show
it's
like
Pasadena.
anytime.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And if he's Pasadena, he is 10 minutes away from me.
All right, Cinemans. Look at that. And shout outs all over the internet. Yeah, he's like our
Exactly.
#1 fan.
I know.
I'm gonna
It's
actually...
it's crazy. I know. Your cousin Frank was your #1 fan until episode 4.
Yeah, well, then we got the FCC came in shut us down for.
Well, he wasn't too happy being censored.
Well, there's a few people who weren't too happy being censored. Anthony Chu and my cousin Frankie. But hey, you know what? We we all have bosses we got to answer to. So
So I guess the real question of the hour right now is, what is Larry getting to drink?
I don't know. He just walked away with it, but it was in, I think, a WrestleMania cup.
No, of course it's in a WrestleMania cup. What else would it be in?
I don't know. What's the matter, Larry?
I thought you guys were doing the mini segment.
We can't do it without you, Larry. You're the
No, Larry.
you're the glue that holds us together, Lawrence.
We are a threesome
Hold
today.
on. What the hell are those?
That
What are those?
Those are ice cubes.
Those are not ice
colored
cubes.
Ice cubes.
You see that?
Yes.
They're blue and red ice cubes. You can't do anything simple. You have to get.
Are those
What are you
Super
talking- they're
Mario
reusable.
Brother cubes?
They
or
don't
something?
dilute the drink. I don't. There's not. If anything, Mister No Straws Allowed over there should be very happy. I'm
Hey,
using
hey! What do you mean no
reusable,
straws allowed? We got straws.
Yeah, Starbucks has paper straws in plastic wrapping.
That's right. Don't you forget it.
All right.
Hey, you! Get your damn hands off my straw.
Turn around, McFly, and walk away.
Walk away, McFly.
I think he took his wallet.
I think he took his wallet.
I think he took his
I
wallet.
think he took his wallet.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to put that right there. I like that.
I'm just checking the better half mail. Do you need a coaster?
No.
I have no idea what we're supposed to be doing now.
All right. Well, it's a birthday today.
It's a
We
birthday.
have a birthday?
That's of a retro.
Oh, my
proportion?
retro birthday? No, that wasn't what I was going to do. I
right.
needed to. I had an order to the show, so I'm all confused now.
All right, don't worry about the
Jesus.
order. It's we're doing it on the fly.
All right.
That's true.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Okay.
What are we doing live?
Forget it. Let's go straight to the ads. I'm back. So,
Thank you.
let's go right into it. The first ad on this being 9/9, well, today's 9/9/18, but way back on
Yep.
9/9/99, which I vividly remember,
9 times.
was the launch of what ended up being Sega's last.
What did you say?
Sega's last.
Sega.
Sega's last home console, and quite frankly, probably their best.
I have a tear in my eye.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I need a moment.
So 19th anniversary. It's our 19th anniversary for the Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah, man.
So we're gonna take a look at one of those commercials right now,
Which
and then
I just hooked up my.
we'll give you our
Dreamcast.
thoughts on that. You just
Excellent.
hooked it up, which is awesome. All right, let's take a look at this commercial.
Here we go.
This is the day you have trained for, the day you have studied for. Utilize your superior skills, your superior intelligence.
Sarah, baby. Oh, you were one fly.
Don't make me hurt you.
Learn to defeat your ruthless enemy, Steve of Hackensack.
Ryan, you're gonna get roofed.
Shut up, quadruped.
Sega Dreamcast. It's thinking.
All right, so that was the Sega Dreamcast commercial. So again, for Sega's last system. I thought it was actually clever to stick in all of the characters that they possibly could into the commercial to remind you, because remember the Saturn was pretty much a failure.
Yeah.
So if you were trying, and they were trying to get back their Genesis people, so they just really went into the pool and showed you every character they possibly could that would make you want to buy the Dreamcast.
I love the Dreamcast.
Dreamcast
Loved
really was my favorite Sega system.
Sega.
And that commercial, you're right, Ant, that commercial really kind of brought together all the basketball. You saw Tails. You saw Ready to
Sonic,
Rumble.
of course.
Yeah. You just saw the characters and then that evil kid from Hackensack, because nothing good comes out of Hackensack, New Jersey.
Nope.
And the whole "it's thinking." I remember that tagline. That was a popular tagline. And with it releasing on 9/9/99, it was a date you weren't going to forget. I remember kind of the world was like flipping out over 9. I think like the MTV Movie Awards were on or something like
Right.
that, and there was a bunch of things happening on it. It was almost
Yeah.
as big as 010100.
Yeah, well, I was going to say we were on the cusp of Y2K. Everybody was freaking out about that.
Yeah.
I was like, and Sega took total advantage of that date, and it was perfect. It was actually they lined it up perfectly. Sega's always been good. They were always good at the marketing portion of things. I really felt like they had an edge over Nintendo. Nintendo was just like, hey, we're Nintendo, buy us. Sega actually had to do more work, and I feel like and as a result, I think their commercial was, really solid. It got me to buy a Dreamcast on day one.
What I found interesting about that commercial was it wasn't loud. It wasn't in your face. It was just it was low. The music was low. The sounds were low. Everything was low, and it was just. The most you heard was the boxer, the basketball player said, who was "Shut up, you quadruped." That was really, and it was more of just a mood of like this is something new. This is a new
endeavor.
a new level of entertainment. So
Which is different. You're right. Which is different with the Sega commercials because they've always been in your face. Blast processing. You know, Sega does what Nintendo don't. All of those. Even the tagline with the Sega CD. I forgot what it was. Or take it to the next level or something like that.
I love
Yeah,
Crazy Taxi.
Welcome to the next level. That's what it was.
Crazy Taxi. That was Dreamcast.
Dreamcast. You're right. Dreamcast was the first system, in my opinion, other than the Neo Geo, but we're going to say the first system that was reasonably priced that actually brought home arcade quality gaming. Mm-hmm. And you're right, with Crazy Taxi, with Sonic Adventures, with Ready to Rumble, WWE Royal Rumble was awesome as well on.
Ready to Rumble's the boxing game,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that WWE Royal Rumble was an awesome game on there. But then also they took games that were released on the PlayStation and, they gave them a graphic upgrade. Like, I had Spider-Man on Dreamcast, and it was so much better on Dreamcast than it was on PlayStation just because of the graphic upgrade.
Did you have Code Veronica on Dreamcast?
Yep, I played Resident Evil Code Veronica on
Yeah,
Dreamcast. That game was awesome.
That game
one of the best ones.
Scared the crap out of me, that game.
Yep.
First time I played that game, I made a mistake of playing it at night in my bedroom in the dark. And I don't think I slept for about a good 2 days.
Not wise.
No, never again. Never again.
I also played Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on the Dreamcast
Yes, Nemesis
as well.
too.
Also, a couple of obscure games on there that I loved. One of them was called Ill Bleed. I don't know if you remember that one.
I do. I remember
Larry?
that one. Yeah. Yeah.
Ill Bleed was literally like you were a character walking through horror movie scenarios, but you didn't have weapons.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was basically the object was to survive without getting scared to death, or ultimately killed at the end by the boss at the end of the level.
Now that I have my Dreamcast set up, I think we need to go to Game On, and I need to
Works for me.
I need to get that. That sounds like a cool game.
It's a good game. It's a rare game. It still goes for like $50 or $60, I think. So
Or
just
not,
be warned.
because I'm cheap. So,
Yes.
well,
But
Christmas is.
But yeah,
coming.
so
They like me there.
I think the issue with the Dreamcast was that it got bunched in with the PlayStation and N64. It was kind of stuck in between. It should have really compared to the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox and the GameCube. I'm like, but because it came out right after N64 and PlayStation 1, and everybody was still hung up on those, that it didn't do what it ultimately needed to do. It also suffered from a lack of third-party support.
That's true.
Everybody, basically after the Saturn, everybody kind of just left Sega.
I mean, Soul Calibur debuted
Yeah.
pretty much on there on the Dreamcast. So, nice hat here.
Sorry.
So yeah, the Dreamcast really, it did well. It did well in our hearts, not necessarily in the market, but I think with a lot of with the retro coming back, and hopefully now, which we'll talk about later, saw in the debut of clone CD systems. Maybe one day we'll see a clone Dreamcast, or bring out your Dreamcasts, and we'll really start to see that resurgence.
I'm fully
got
looking forward
yours.
to it. I actually might have to go and buy another television to hook up the rest of my all my toys.
So that was Dreamcast 1999. We're going to dip into the very early new millennium. We didn't know what was happening in 2000. We thought the world was going to end.
It's so crazy,
But it didn't. There's... I got to be honest. What the hell is the VM Labs Neuron?
Okay, so the VM Labs Nuon. Nuon, yes.
Never heard of this.
So the VM Labs Nuon, and you know what? I couldn't find a commercial for it, but I wanted to bring it up because it was listed in this generation of systems. The VM Labs Nuon was actually a DVD player that had a video game attachment to it. So I wanted to bring this up because I didn't know about this one either. And when I was, doing my research, I fell down the rabbit hole and I'm like, oh, what's the Nuon? And I just looked it up and I thought it was kind of cool. So let's just take a quick look at it. This isn't a commercial for the Nuon. It's really just a compilation of the games that were on the Nuon to see exactly what it was about.
All right, let's check it out.
All right, so so that was the new one. I mean, ultimately, it was just it really looked like it was just a DVD player with a game add-on. If you see the actual console, it was a DVD player, and there was a slot to plug in a controller, so you can play games on it. But they were CD-based games, and a lot of them were some of them were games that were on other systems. Some of them were surprisingly old games, like Tempest and Space Invaders,
right?
Which was weird.
I think those are just easy games to create. So why not just throw them onto a system?
Exactly, but at the same time, it's like, at that point, everybody's so beyond those games. We're getting all these new 3D games, 3D style games with the N64, Dreamcast, and PlayStation. It's like, this thing was kind of already in the dust when it came out.
True. Frank, thoughts?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Frank.
Sorry, I'm checking our Twitter feed. So.
Well,
it's all good.
I'm doing two.
Is anyone actually tweeting us?
You're on multitasking.
I thought
it's not like we're not live.
No, I thought Leah Thompson tweeted us, but I was wrong.
Yeah, told us to stop.
Yes. Well, I'm going to make it my personal goal to track her down for you since she lives in LA.
Can't be too hard, right? So,
nope, not at all.
Next up in 2000, probably one of the first systems, in my opinion, to really take a giant leap forward in home consoles. Mm-hmm. Basically turned into everyone's DVD player at some point. And we're talking about the PlayStation 2. Selling just hundreds of thousands of units. I'm sure
hundreds of thousands. Millions.
Right? Millions, sure, that too.
Millions.
So
it's
technically...
like 100 million units.
So technically we're both right. And with the PlayStation 2, let's see how Sony tried to mix it up in this field to really get our attention and for us to purchase a PS2. We clicking on the first one?
Yeah.
All right.
A PS2.
Can't you see it's coming? Can't you see it's coming? Can't you see it's coming? Can't you see it's coming?
Welcome to the third place.
PlayStation 2! The third place!
So we just watched 2 PlayStation 2 commercials. Let's talk about the first one really quickly.
First one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you remember that. I remember this one, and again, like it strangely enough, compared to the second one, it made perfect sense in terms of what they were trying to sell. Just the whole idea of like you want to play video games, you don't want to be a video game in your real life.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it looked like you had the kid from It. You had gargoyles.
Yeah,
and you had
ferocious dog.
A mentally ill homeless person screaming. Looked so kind
Very
of
realistic.
very New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you had Times Square on any given day.
Yeah.
I do remember this commercial. I just found it interesting that promoting a new gaming system and they didn't show anything that had to do with a
Right.
video game. So they must have had a lot of confidence. Well, I guess with the success of the PlayStation, they obviously had a huge following and a lot of confidence in their product.
I don't-
Right.
I don't ever remember really video gameplay in a PlayStation 2 commercial.
No, and
Well,
I think that plays to, and this is something, if you look back at all the commercials we've reviewed, Frank, starting with the Odyssey and whatnot, if you remember going back to like the Odyssey when video games were in their infancy, they were literally telling you exactly what games were on it and what it did. Like they had to explain, in the commercial they explained it to you straight out. And then you fast forward 20 years when, video games are just part of the general culture. I'm like, and again, companies who have established themselves well enough, they don't even need to show any gameplay whatsoever. All they need to say is, hey, PlayStation 2 is coming out. You guys are making notes, and love to know what they are. But PlayStation 2 is coming out. You guys love the PlayStation 1. We don't need to show you anything.
That's what I was thinking.
Right,
Yeah, it's
right.
like it's if I may coin a phrase, more of the same.
Not exactly more of the same at all. So no and
Different, but the
actually
same.
with yeah, different but the
PlayStation.
same. That's exactly what it is.
So, alrighty.
Now,
Now,
I also think if you look at the times, 2000, right? That
Yeah.
ad was 2000. New Century.
Yep.
Obviously a year later things changed more dramatically, but I think there was a new mindset. So I think whoever the advertising agency was for that was just thinking completely outside the box, saying, all right, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we have probably 20 backup plans. We could show the game. We could put out a third commercial, and with all the pictures of the gaming, of the games.
hey,
Exactly.
hey,
Hey,
What?
there was another commercial that was involved with.
Hi. Hey, what's going on?
I was waiting for Harry Carey to appear here on this
Where the
hybrid
hell am I?
episode of the Retro Gamers and the Better Half podcast.
Is this Toys R Us?
Is it? No, well, it kind of looks like
No,
it.
Harry, I think
Who
you're
the
in
hell is that?
I think you're in KB Toys.
What the hell?
Look at the screen, Harry.
Hey.
Look at the screen.
That's a big television. Is that the Jumbotron?
What? We're out,
Yes,
out in
you're
Wrigley?
you're at Madison Square Garden.
Hey, who's that? Is that Ripper?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Ripper.
Oh, I didn't know Harry knew me. Hey, what's up?
Harry
I
knows
listen to the
everybody.
Retro Gamers podcast every week.
Yeah, up in heaven.
Really?
That's all the
I didn't
podcasts.
I didn't know you played video games.
I have an iCloud.
Oh, nice.
Hey. Hey, Larry.
What's your-
How you
What-
feeling?
what's-
Not so well. I may be seeing you very soon.
Hey, plenty of room up here. A lot of people going to hell.
What's your favorite game on the cloud?
My favorite game on the cloud? Words with Friends. I like that. And Angry Birds.
Very simple man, Harry Carey.
I
is.
also
I
like,
see that, which
I
is
also
good.
like Minesweeper.
Nice.
Kaboom! Kaboom!
Kaboom, like on Atari?
No, mines that blow up.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. All right.
Oh, okay.
Where's Frank?
Well, Frank, he stepped away for a moment, but I think you may have to step away for a moment as well.
Okay.
Because what we're going to talk about next may scare you a little bit.
Okay, hey, I gotta go.
Okay.
Cubs win. Cubs win.
Excellent.
All right.
That's all right. So while we wait for Frank to join us
What
here.
happened?
Oh, hey, how you doing?
What happened?
Wait, don't you hate when that happens?
I had a long day. I apologize.
Yeah,
I-
no,
I
it's
kind
the heat's
dozed
getting to
off
you.
a
It's
little.
all right.
Nah, Frank, you missed Harry Carey. That's all.
He possessed me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
Sorry.
I never get to talk to the man.
I know. It's
Pisses
weird.
me off.
So the second commercial
My neck hurts.
for the you have a headache? You need Tylenol?
No.
Okay. Or heavy medication. The second commercial for PlayStation. Now, this second commercial, I don't remember at all, but
Yep.
it is off the page weird.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was directed by David Lynch, and anybody who knows David Lynch knows that anything he's going to direct is going to be weird.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
bottom line.
commercial reeks of David Lynch. It's a little scary. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it kind of is. I don't know if this would convince me to buy a PlayStation 2. This would actually scare me
This
away
actually-
from the PlayStation 2.
This convinced me to go into therapy. Actually,
Yes.
I don't remember this commercial being out on the television when it. But this was a little disturbing. This commercial.
Yep, and for those of you who are just listening to the podcast and not watching on YouTube, basically it involved a guy in a suit walking down a hallway, and then there's his head detaches from himself, an arm comes shooting out of his mouth.
There's a talking duck.
There's a talking duck, or a
With
duck.
no
a duck. Well, let's just say a duck head on top of a guy in a three-piece suit.
Like no Leah Thompson.
No Leah Thompson, unless she was the weird mummy thing that was sitting next to the
With a
Duckman.
bloody eye.
Maybe.
Next to Duckman. I don't know. But all kinds of weirdness. All kinds of weirdness in that one. Yeah, got no words. David Lynch. Look him up if you don't know.
I don't think I've ever seen a David Lynch movie.
Oh.
I don't think I need
Moving
a
on.
David
Some of
Lynch
your
movie.
horizons.
Oh, Event Horizons?
It's apropos. Just-
Okay. So,
It's apropos.
next up, Nintendo's foray into the CD-based systems. I
first.
believe this is the one that owned and homed the game that Frank and Anthony lost many an hours to when it finally ended with Baldur's Gate. And we're talking about the Nintendo GameCube.
Hate that game.
We're going to check out a commercial right now for your listening and viewing pleasures of the Nintendo GameCube. Here we go.
All right, so what I find interesting now, we're getting to these commercials, is they're getting a lot more visual. We don't have narrators, we don't have nobody's telling us things anymore. It's just here's what it is, or here's this really weird, trippy commercial, and there's a bit of gameplay mixed into it. So you got some previews of the Star Wars game, Wave Race. There's a little Mario in there. Basically, the overall commercial is just more about it's trying to elicit some type of emotion or a feeling to connect to the GameCube, and then it just intersperses little snippets of the games.
That always seems to be Nintendo's MO, to just really kind of like how you and the system become one.
Yes.
And I mean, the only really interaction with the system is that for some reason there's a handle on it. But the system's great.
Portable.
It is very oddly portable for some reason. I love
really portable.
I still love
No.
the GameCube. I think it still had a great library of games, and I like how they not until the end of the commercial did they start showing actual gameplay. They just kind of gave you like hints of what games are involved, which is what you saw in all the cubes.
In all the cubes. I also thought it was very in the beginning of it, and there was some sort of like Japanese shogun scene in the beginning, but the whole commercial looked like. And the only reason I know this because living with Anthony, it looked like a Japanese movie.
Yes.
It looked like what was that movie? Was it might have
Crouching
been called
Tiger?
Cube? I think.
Cube.
Cube.
It looked
Yeah.
like no pun intended, but it looked like it was the styling of with the the like almost the electronic music in it, and it was just a lot of cutscenes. It was actually a really very fast-paced movie, and again, movie commercial, and they didn't really show any gameplay until the actual end, but it was like the possibilities of what could be done inside this cube. And they didn't show the actual gaming system until the last 2 seconds of the commercial.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, it lasts like 5 seconds or so. But and not only that, I mean, with Nintendo at least, like this system almost ended the company. They almost went out of business as a result of this system because of poor sales.
But they did have some pretty decent games,
Which is weird. That's what I find
didn't own
weird
it, but
about
I
the
remember
system.
when we had the apartment, we played it often, and with the exception of the ending of Baldur's Gate, there was some other pretty good games on there, which I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. I was never really into
That
the whole sales
always
thing.
shocked me about the GameCube. What we call it on the street, the Cube.
Well, I think the issue that came up is that all of the third-party support they were getting on their other systems moved over to Microsoft and Sony, and as a result, they just couldn't keep up with the competition because it was all first-party games. Like all of the most memorable games I remember on there are going to be Luigi's Mansion, Super Smash Brothers, all of their first-party games. They didn't have Resident Evil at least to start with. They eventually got Resident Evil, but they didn't get enough third-party support, and that was the problem there. And and obviously, thankfully, they came out with the Wii, which wound up becoming, one of the best-selling consoles of all time. Otherwise, Nintendo would have been done.
I think I remember playing the Resident Evil on your GameCube.
Resident Evil Zero.
At the Zero, yeah. At the
scared the hell out of me.
At the
That was a great game.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yep.
Cool.
That was a good one. So, now I think it's time we finish this off. This is the last retro system we're going to cover here because we haven't decided yet if the next generation qualifies
We still
as
bounce
retro
around
yet.
it. Yeah.
So let's take a look at the Microsoft Xbox, which put Microsoft on the map in the video gaming world.
Look at me, said the first cloud. I'm a bunny. Look at me, said the second cloud. I'm a bunny. This game blows, said the third cloud. And that, children, is why it sucks to be a cloud.
So, that was the commercial for the Xbox.
Very weird commercial.
That was odd.
I don't understand how you're supposed to buy a system based off of that.
There's really nothing there except some whiny girl complaining about bunnies, and this game blows.
Little bunny foo-foo hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice and popping them on the head.
Yeah. Okay.
I have pneumonia.
I am embarrassed for you.
Do you know the only reason I know that song is because my daughter had a VHS tape of some stupid little bunny foo-foo bopping a little Misi mice, bopping them on the head. And you know what? Hated it.
So
now.
The only thing that I remember getting me to buy an Xbox was really more just Microsoft. It's like, oh, look, Windows 98 or Windows, whichever came out next after that. Windows
2000.
was always was always kind of the forefront of computing. Apple was out there, but Microsoft dominated the business, and I think just name alone is what got, well, at least for me, because I don't remember really seeing much of the Xbox, even though I bought it later than like you did and when Verdi did and all that. But I felt like name, not commercial, because that was a very weird commercial.
Yeah, no, it was definitely really weird. And I don't remember buying the Xbox right at the get-go either because I was busy with the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube.
Okay.
I think I wound up getting the Xbox when WWE started putting games out on it.
Makes sense when I got a PlayStation.
Because again, like we were, I was a huge wrestling fan at the time along with you.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, the games looked better on there. And I still argue that Raw and Raw 2 were like two of the better games of that generation.
Short of Day of Reckoning.
Yeah, I didn't get Xbox until because I was riding the PS2 wave. After I met you guys, I at the Super Bowl party, I fell in love with GTA 3. And thankfully won the Super Bowl pool that night, and the next day went out and bought a PlayStation 2 and Grand Theft Auto with the winnings. But then
GTA 3 definitely changed it up.
Yeah, but then when I lived out on Long Island, when my wife and I had the apartment, she got me an Xbox, and I think it was the Homer Simpson's version of Crazy Taxi was
Hit and Run.
Simpsons Hit and Run,
yeah. And there was also like a plane game that came with it, which I never even played.
Crimson Sky, I think.
Crimson Sky,
or
right?
Crimson
it was
Tides, yeah.
Horrible. Yeah, it was horrible. I played it once and I never played it again. But that, of course, begat Xbox 360 and now Xbox One.
And I remember Xbox really also had a lot, like the sports games were really good.
Right, the hockey.
The 2K hockey
was amazing.
Football was
football,
all great.
Baseball.
On that. Yep.
I have the baseball. I have the
one of the best
hockey.
Football games ever. In my opinion, ESPN 2K5, which was on Xbox.
Excellent game.
Yeah, it's actually that game actually still. You know how sports games go down in value like significantly? Like eventually you can buy them for $1. ESPN 2K5 actually still has some of its value because people still go back to that as the best game of all time. I have it. I'm not a huge football fan. I only watch it once in a while.
I'm like, but I have it too.
Yeah, ESPN 2K5. I used to play all the time. It was awesome.
I think it was also the last non-Madden football game before Madden signed that exclusive deal, where pretty much Madden was the only one selling games.
But
I think so.
The hockey games were great too, and I remember the reason why. I liked the hockey games because they were the first system where you could actually. If I remember correctly, I believe it was Xbox, where you could download the new rosters.
Yes.
So when teams made trades, if you couldn't make you could eventually there'd be a patch, as we call it now. Yeah. You could download the new roster, which I thought was great because it always drove me nuts when I played a hockey game and that player retired or that player's not on the team anymore. And I have OCD to a degree where it's like I have to. And I remember Verdi even spoke about this way.
Yep.
He would update the rosters, and I would even create players.
He did it manually.
Rookies. I would create real life players but now, unfortunately, now that they want to sell a new game every year, they don't really do that anymore, which kind of bothers me, But because they want you to obviously buy the next year, but I don't need.
That's why I haven't bought them in years.
The last hockey game I bought was 2018, so it had to be 15 or 16. I played like 30 games into the season, and then it was just the controls were hard. I said, and then of course, GTA.
You found GTA 5,
and now PUBG
is
slowly taking over my life. So, but it's all good. Right.
Cool. So those are the ads, and that pretty much brings us full circle. Then it brings us to an end. The ads started in the 70s when Frank was in his 20s, and made it all the way up to the early 2000s. Let us know again some of your favorite ads that you remember seeing for video games. Check us out on Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast. Hit us up. Let us know. Let us hear about it. And when we come back on the flip side of this, we're going to go back to the better half. We're going to talk some life, some liberty, and the pursuit of something.
Mediocrity.
Yeah, before you end, I heard you mention before of where does retro gaming end. Now, as a car guy, to have a classic car, it needs to be 25 years old. So that's considered. Once you have a car that's 25 years old, it's considered a classic car. So I think, now obviously there's no set date with gaming, but you have to realize, the Xbox is, you said, that's your limit.
And we go back and forth on it.
When the next gen consoles come out, you're might be able. What's retro to someone like us will end at Xbox, but if you have a younger listener who's in their 20s, and when they're our age, the Xbox 360 is going to be retro to them.
Absolutely.
So you could hey, set a precedent, make it 20 years, whatever that. When the Xbox came out in 2001,
just about
Okay, so 17 years, make it 20 years or something, or 15 years.
We go back and it is fairly open ended, and I think we've somewhat narrowed it down to more of a generational, as opposed X number of generations old versus years, because systems kind of the generations kind of span a couple years.
Right.
So, but it is open ended, and we know it's going to expand as time goes on. So
yes,
and I didn't curse. I think once in this.
No, fucking A.
No, you didn't. Damn it.
Larry.
After these messages, we'll be right back.